What's up, y'all? Welcome to Jighead Outdoors. I'm gonna do something a little bit different on this video. We're down here diving during lobster mini season, and I'm gonna kind of narrate this video as it goes, just kind of give you a bird's eye view of what we're looking for. I just dropped in here, and as you can see, there's a rock and a lobster as soon as I jump in, but it was a little small, so we let that one go. Current is rolling through here, so I'm kind of getting pushed. What you're looking for is these lobsters kind of get up underneath these rocks and coral heads, and some of them go really far back. So in this instance right here, I couldn't even get to this lobster. So current's blowing through so bad I can't hold still. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time trying to get him out. Had there been no current, I might have been able to push him from the backside to get him out, but it's it's early season, so there's a ton of them down here. So I'm just going to move on to the next one. Here's a conch. They're not in season down here in the Keys. You can take the shell, but there was something in there, so we didn't. We left that one be. Here's a hogfish. I thought about bringing my spear gun, but I decided not to. But that would have been a good one. That would have been a good dinner fish. They're delicious. So we're just kind of checking out every nook and cranny we can. See, looking for ledges, holes. What you're really looking for is kind of the antenna sticking out. If you see it there, they kind of blend in, but after you do it for a while, you kind of get an idea of what you're looking for. And what we're using here is a lasso. This lasso, basically you put the lasso over the tail of the lobster, and you pull the string or the cable, and it tightens it up where they can't get out. So we got one keeper there. So we're just gonna keep on drifting about. I probably should have waited probably another 30 minutes before I got in. I'm burning through a lot of air here. It's just kind of pushing me through. Ideally, you want to be able to kind of dissect these areas pretty thoroughly, but you know, kids were on the boat. They were ready to go fishing. I'm the only one scuba certified, so I went ahead and jumped in. And like I said, it was early season, so there's plenty of lobster around, so I figured I'd get my limit. So we're looking here. We see a little hole, kind of see his antennas sticking out, and they're quick. If you don't get them fast, they'll flick and go. So as you see, I get it over the tail there, pull it tight, and put them in the bag. I've done this a while. I say a while, for a few years, so I kind of have a gauge of what's a keeper and what's not a keeper. If it's borderline, I'll measure it for sure, and we measure them all before they go in the boat. So we can kind of get an idea of what's a keeper lobster and what's not. You'll see later in the video there was a borderline one that I went ahead and measured because I thought it wasn't a keeper, and that ended up being true. So again, we're just kind of floating, drifting with the current, looking for rocks, coral heads, and there's another lobster right there. He's kind of hiding under the edge of that rock, and they do everything they can to get away. And this one's loaded. You can see what, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's another one on the back side. So I'm just trying to pick out the biggest one here and kind of see, just kind of gauge the size. You'll see a lot of undersized lobster, but what I do is I see a big group like this, I'll pick out the biggest one. Typically we'll measure it unless I know for a fact it's a keeper. So I'll kind of use my lobster lasso to push them away from the rock, slip that cable right over his back, and then pull the handle, and it'll cinch it down where they can't get out. And this one's definitely a keeper. So we're gonna put him in, kind of pick through the rest of them and see. I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time on the borderline ones. Has it been later in the season, I might would. I'll just kind of poke through here to see what's left. This may be the one that I actually measure. So what I'm doing here is I'm not 100% sure whether this one's a keeper or not. So I'm pulling my measuring, I say stick, but it's not a stick. It's actually a piece of metal that's got a 3-inch notch on it. And how you tell whether a lobster is a keeper or not, it's got to be 3 inches from the middle of the eyes back to the end of the carapace, which is the hard part of the shell where it meets the actual tail. And these lobsters' defense mechanisms are to, obviously, one, flick away, but two is to take their antennas and kind of flick them back at you. Every part of that lobster on the front part is got spines on it, hence the name spiny lobster. But he'll try to hit you with them things, and it's not super painful, but it doesn't feel great. But that was not a keeper, so that was probably the biggest one out of the group that was left. Just kind of poke through these. It doesn't hurt them. Kind of poke through, see what's left. All the other ones, I think in this area, are about the same size. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here, so I kind of let those go and drift on to the next spot. Another mistake I made was I didn't wear gloves. I always recommend wearing gloves. Everything down there is either sharp, will bite you, or stick you. So kind of came over the top of a rock here. This one's shoved way down in a hole. They'll get in the tightest places. You wonder kind of on some of them how they even get there, but what they'll do is they'll back themselves back into it. So this one's down in a hole, and I kind of nudge him out, and then he's gone. And again, with that current, sometimes I'll chase him down, but with the current, as much as it was, I didn't want to burn the rest of my air chasing down a lobster. And when I was looking through there, I saw a second one in there too. So I'm gonna kind of see if I can get that one to get out, but he kind of poked back in there, and he was too deep, so there wasn't any way I was getting him out. So I'm just gonna continue kind of drifting down with the current. As you can see, it's still moving pretty good. Ideally, you want to dive a slack tide. So here's a few sitting around this rock. That's a pretty good one right there. So as you can see, they're quick. So he'll back up. I'll open this thing back up. The lasso, get it over his tail, and it wasn't fast enough. And they shoot quick. I'm gonna kind of chase him down. This is a good one, so I don't want to lose it. And then there again, I'm too slow. And you're just gentle with them. Usually they'll kind of stay put. But for this one, I don't know what the deal with this one was. He was definitely not having it, but it was a good lobster, so I decided I was going to kind of go after him. Can't really see him in the picture here, but he's still there. They'll kind of face you and back up. What they're doing is trying to find a nook or a cranny they can back up into. So here we are, we got it, and pull it tight, and here we go. And that was a good one. I didn't need to measure him either. So we'll kind of put him into what they call a lobster hotel and release him up and get on to looking. And there again, there was a couple more under that rock I was just at. We got one sticking out of a little hole here. It's another good one. So we're going to try to get away, but we got them. As you can see, some of them are a little more passive than others. That one was a little bit easier to get. Again, I'm trying to measure him, but he's doing his best to stick me. They don't, again, these are Florida spiny lobsters. These aren't like Maine lobsters. They don't have claws. But they still can stick you. So I let him go. He was too small. As you can see, another one stuffed under a rock there. So we're in mini season. I don't know if I said this in the video, but the mini season is a 2-day season before actually the regular season kicks in. This is a good one here. And so there's a lot of lobster just because they hadn't been picked over in several months. So they've kind of been left alone. And here's another one. So you get, that's awesome when you can get an area like that where there's a couple good keepers sitting underneath a rock, and you can knock out a couple about the same time. And again, we're just looking for a rock, a coral head, a hole. At this point in time, I've drifted into the Gulf side, so it tends to be a little bit more rocky. There's another lobster right there, right? Well, actually, I think I counted 3 or 4 right there. Just gonna keep on drifting. can't remember at this point in time if I had 4 or 5. I ended up having to go to the surface for a second because my dive flag was getting caught on the bridge pylon. Oh, here's a good one right here. And I missed him. And you'll see there's some old lobster pots right there. Those are called ghost traps. It's actually illegal in Florida to mess with those. So even though there's no buoy attached to it, it's against the law. And here I am trying to get a little cute, and this lobster puts it on me and gets away. So there's your life lesson. Don't be a hot dog. So I should have just taken my time. Instead I tried to be cute with that one. So and there's another hogfish. There's a couple more lobster under this. Again, no gloves, not exactly smart, but it's kind of chaotic when you're getting ready to dive in the swift current and stuff. And so that one shot off. I think the other one was borderline. I don't remember why I didn't try to get him, but I think it was just borderline. Still fighting this current. You'll notice me check out my air pressure a decent amount of times. I'm getting kind of low on air and want to be super cautious at 500 psi. It's time to go up. I'm diving pretty shallow, but still I don't like to take any chances. So just drifting along here. There's a red grouper right there. A small one. He wasn't a keeper, but I didn't have my spear gun anyway, so it wouldn't matter. See a coral head up here in front of us. Nothing under that. Then you see a big rock. You see those? You see that? This joker was ready. He looked like he was ready to fight me, but this is a good one too. So I'm gonna put the lasso over him, pull it, and he's going home for dinner. Just kind of finishing up our dive here. I think we've got 5 at this point. I think this one finishes it off. This is our number 6. There's a couple under this little ledge here. This is another good one. So I kind of pin him down here to the floor until I can get situated in the current. And get him quick. Put him in the bag. I think that wraps up mini season 2022. So it was a huge success. It was fun. Me and my cousin brought the kids down. They had a good time. Wind was blowing. We couldn't get offshore, but we made the best of it. So hope you liked the video. If you guys would, please like, subscribe. It really helps us out in growing the channel. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one.